Okay, so we've played around with register, we've played around with profile. How about being able to log in? Once I've registered, I've used my profile for a while, I log out, and maybe later on I want to come back to and view my profile. So let's click on login and let's implement it. Okay, so let's take a look at the implementation of login. So there's the logins right here, HTML. It's going to be very, very similar to the register screen. So I'm going to just copy the HTML. It's going to look very, very similar. So I'm going to just paste it here and just make a couple of changes. So this will be login. It will still have the same username, same password. The function might be called login. And the button will be login. All right. So let's implement these username and password and functions that don't exist. All right. So we'll do that in the component. So in the component, in the login component, all right, let's implement all these things. So we'll need a username string. We'll need a password string and a function login, which is going to take username and password as an argument. And what are we going to do here? Well, what we're going to do is we're going to try and hit an API that does this for us, right? There's our login. We'll try and hit this API login, right? And this login function is expecting that in the body we're going to pass a username and password. So let's do that. So we're going to do a fetch. We're going to try and hit that server. So this will be local host 3000. This will be API login, and we're going to pass in we're going to use a post to send this information. We're going to send in the body. It's expecting that we'll have a username and password in the body, and that this is a JSON file, JSON, right? So this is going to be headers, and then this is going to be content type, JSON. And let's not forget that we want to participate in a session, right? So we need to add credentials and then include. Okay, this means that I do want to pass the cookies. By default, it doesn't pass the cookie. You have to explicitly say to include them. Then, presumably, we're going to get the response, which is going to include the currently logged in user, right, because we're going to be added, right? So current user, which we're actually going to ignore. Right? We don't really need it. Instead, we're going to navigate to the profile page as the currently logged in user. To navigate, we're going to need the router. So let's bring in the router. Right? And so now we can use the router to navigate programmatically. We'll say this.router.navigate, and we're going to navigate to the profile. And just like we did when we registered profile. In both cases, we're going to navigate to the profile. Okay? All right, so let's try it. Let's go back. Here's our login. Let's log in as Ed. That didn't quite work. Let's see. Inspect. Console. Network. Let's log in. Oh, that did quite work. I guess I had not refreshed the screen. I notice that I am logged in. Right, if I log out and then I go back to log in and I type in Frank, and log in, notice that I show Frank. And this is the same if I use maybe some other browser. So let's put maybe the two browsers side by side. And so this browser might go to localhost 4200, right? And here I'm logged in as Frank, so I'm refreshing and I have the information that it's me. If I log in here and I log in as Ed, notice that I have the information that I'm Ed. If I refresh, notice that I am Ed here and I am Frank. over here. Again, this is because each one of them is sending different cookies, right? And it's using the different cookies that are keyed off. They use the cookie to key off, which session are you talking about, right? And so the browser is remembering two different conversations, right? And in this case, right now, the only thing that we're storing is the current user, but we are free to really put anything we want in the session. You could put entire objects, right? And that object might be a shopping cart, so that we can display Frank's shopping cart or Ed's shopping cart, and each one will have different products and different things in there, stored in their particular session.